crazy. You just never know what's going to happen.
UFC welterweight championship.
St-Pierre. Sarah has shocked the world. Matt Hughes, I love it.
Matt Serra's been doing a lot of talking about me. I was very excited to fight him, but now that he's hurt, I'm fighting George, and that's a exciting fight as well for me, in that I get to rematch the guy who beat me last.
This loss is the best thing ever happened to me. It made me stronger, and next time I will fight Matt Serra, it's gonna be a different story.
Is GSP back? You better believe he is.
I'm in the best shape of my life. I'm sharper than ever, stronger than ever, more powerful than I've ever been. Now it's a rubber match. It's the third time that we're gonna fight each other, and a lot of stuff happened outside of the ring and inside of the ring.
I'm not impressed by your performance, and I look forward to fight you in the near future.
I feel very comfortable taking this fight with George St-Pierre.
No matter if I like the guy or not, he's not my friend. It's gonna be all about business, and I'm gonna do my job, and my job is gonna be to destroy my opponent.
Don't count Matt Hughes as the same fighter you fought last time.
Matt Hughes is a huge motivation to me. In my book, he's probably the best welterweight right now, and there is one way to take his crown is to beat him.
I've already fought George St-Pierre, I've already beat him, and I get to do it again.
Says it's the end of time, and the Mississippi River, she could go dry. The interest is up and the stock market's down, and you only get mugged if you go downtown. I live back in the woods, you see, a woman and the kids and the dogs and me. Got a shotgun, a rifle, and a four-wheel drive, and a country boy can survive. Country boy can survive.
The most successful welterweight in UFC history, Matt Hughes. And one of the things we've learned about Matt Hughes over the years, like the true champion he is, every time he's lost, he's come back better. He's come back more focused, more confident. And I expect that from him tonight. He knows everything George St-Pierre is capable of. He's faced him on two separate occasions, both in victory and defeat. And I think we're gonna see the best Matt Hughes of his career tonight.
To a certain degree, this fight for Matt Hughes is somewhat similar to the fight we just saw from the perspective of Chuck Liddell. Because even though Hughes came back and he beat Chris Lytle, who's a worthy opponent, he was truly dominated by GSP in the last matchup. And some are saying maybe Matt's better days are behind him, and he, as Chuck just did, wants to prove the naysayers wrong.
Well, in all fairness, that fight was after the most impressive performance of his entire career. We absolutely destroyed Royce Gracie, and everybody thought that he was the greatest fighter ever. I mean, styles make fights, decisions during those fights affect the outcome greatly. The decision to stand, the decision to try to take it to the ground, the decision to try to be elusive. I mean, I think Matt Hughes tonight, he's going to take a completely different approach than we saw in the second fight. And I don't think these fights are going to be even remotely similar.
Not only the win against Royce Gracie, but the defense of his title, Joe, against BJ the Prodigy Penn.
And a fight where he was tested, very much so. In the first 2 rounds, he was in a lot of trouble with BJ Penn.
Here he is, the most decorated welterweight in UFC history, Matt Hughes.
You can tell a lot by the way Matt looks coming into this fight. He looks very focused and very confident.
But he was killed by a man with a switchblade knife. For $43, my friend lost his life.
Hughes is ready to battle.
trop de choses qui se passent dans le réseau, on sait. On ne va pas parler, on sait. Ça se passe juste à côté de toi, on sait. On pense que la vie est belle, on sait. Ça faut commencer. C'est trop hostile. Le côté sombre de Montréal, 514, nombre 5, hostile, sauf quand le buzz est allumé. Je l'ai vu, tu l'as vu, on l'a vu. Le business illégal, c'est ça qui contrôle la rue, la violence, le sexe, la drogue et tout ça pour l'argent dans le territoire hostile. Tout s'achète et tout se vend. Hey yo, back in the days, y'a un black qui s'appelait Black, qui pensait qu'il était fat. Ouais, culotte de crack. Toujours les grosses marques, me donner de la haute classe et grâce à ce service de cheap.
The French Canadian, George Rush St-Pierre.
Possibly the most athletically gifted guy in all of mixed martial arts. An explosive guy. I mean, he's got long legs, and he utilizes those long legs, and he's very light on his feet, and very good at avoiding takedowns. We saw that in his fight against Josh Koscheck. Now, the word from his training camp is that he was training with guys like Rashad Evans and some really tough fighters, and he was taking them all down at will, which is very impressive considering George has no high school or college wrestling in his background. He basically learned wrestling as a martial art when he was competing as a mixed martial artist. That's almost unheard of, to have a guy so successful in one aspect of sport without, really any competition, a formal competition the way we're used to in the States.
For a long time, he has trained his wrestling with members of the Canadian national team. And his wrestling has become so good that he actually considered wrestling in the Olympics for his home country of Canada.
Yeah, that really is amazing. It is a testament to his athleticism. Very explosive guy. Kyokushin karate black belt, great strikes, great takedowns, great submission defense, and great takedown defense. He is really an all-around package and epitomizes the modern-day mixed martial artist.
In the first fight, George St-Pierre landed a spinning back kick. It kind of rocked Hughes for a second, but he lost that fight with 1 second remaining in the round via submission. The second fight, 25 months later, pretty much we saw a fight-ending head kick. And now the trilogy is about to be completed. Welcome back inside the octagon, George Rush St-Pierre. They are fighting for the interim welterweight title. Our tale of the tape for this, our main event of the evening. It's brought to you by Harley-Davidson, the only motorcycles worthy of being in the octagon. The French-Canadian St-Pierre, 8 years younger than the American Matt Hughes. George Rush St-Pierre has a 3-inch reach advantage. Here we go again. Chapter 2 of this wonderful book tonight. And for the official introductions, once again, here's Bruce Buffer.
Ladies and gentlemen, this UFC championship bout is sanctioned by the Nevada State Athletic Commission with Chairman John Bailey and commissioners in attendance Skip Avancino Jr., Bill D. Bradley, T.J. Day, and Pat Lundvall. Our 3 judges scoring this championship bout are Glenn Trowbridge, Nelson Hamilton, and Jeff Mullen, and Executive Director Keith Izar. Our lead physician at Octagon side is Dr. David Watson. And when the action begins, our referee in charge of the Octagon is Steve Mazzagatti. This championship bout is sponsored by Harley-Davidson, the only motorcycles worthy of being in the Octagon. Toyo Tires, the official tire of the UFC. Toyo Tires, driven to perform. And Rambo, heroes never die, they just reload. Rambo in theaters January 25th. Ladies and gentlemen, 2 former UFC champions have now entered the Octagon to go to war against each other for the third time. And now, live from the sold-out Mandalay Bay Resort and Casino in Las Vegas, it's time! 5 rounds for the UFC Interim Welterweight Championship. Introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner. This UFC warrior holds a professional record of 43 wins with 5 losses. He stands 5 feet 9 inches tall, weighing in at 170 pounds. Fighting out of Hillsboro, Illinois, ladies and gentlemen, he is the former UFC welterweight champion, Matt Hughes. And now, introducing his opponent, fighting out of the red corner. This man holds a professional record of 14 wins with 2 losses. He stands 5 feet tall, weighing in at 170 pounds. Fighting out of Montreal, Quebec, Canada, ladies and gentlemen, he is the former UFC welterweight champion, George Rush St-Pierre.
All right, gentlemen, here we go again. We will have a clean, fair fight. You need to obey my commands, protect yourself at all times. Now let's hook them up. Good luck.
George St-Pierre. Matt Hughes. Time to settle the score. Interim welterweight title to be delivered to the victor.
All right, here we go. Bring it on, come on.
We are underway. First round of this fight brought to you by High Mob Watches, the exclusive watch provider of the UFC. Please visit highmobwatches.com. Southpaw stance for Matt Hughes.
Well, the big question in this fight is how does Matt Hughes deal with the speed and athleticism of George St-Pierre? And when you saw he went immediately for that ankle, it looks like to take him down.
Hughes leading with the right.
Well, you know what? Matt Hughes is a wrestler, and he might be more comfortable taking people down with his right leg forward.
Excellent point. And that's what he wants to do, undoubtedly. He wants to take George St-Pierre down.
The problem is, to get close enough to take him down, he's got to get in the danger zone. And again, he reaches.
Got to set that up. We just talked about the ever-improving wrestling of George St-Pierre. So that would include takedown defense as well.
Well, one of the reasons why he's so good at wrestling is because he's so fast and explosive. I mean, you see how light he is on his feet as well. A lot of guys, when they fight in the octagon, they're good strikers, they make the mistake of being flat-footed. George is constantly moving, always on the balls of his feet, always moving around. And because of that, it's very, very difficult to grab a hold of him and take him down.
Joe, in preparing for this matchup and the many articles and things that I read.
Look at that, that's what I'm talking about. I mean, that's some serious takedown defense there. You're talking about an all-American wrestler like Matt Hughes who was deep in on that takedown, and George got out of it immediately.
It was amazing that since UFC 50, the first matchup of these two,
he takes Matt down.
St-Pierre has only been on his back for a minute in all his fights. He's the aggressor in the wrestling game.
Well, he really proved that in his last bout against Josh Koscheck.
He landed every takedown attempt against Josh Koscheck.
And again, that was the word out of the training camp, was that he was able to take these fighters down. Guys like Rashad Evans, who's also a great college wrestler, he was able to take him down at will, but they weren't able to take George down. That's huge.
Jiu-jitsu-wise, both have skills. In fact, Hughes has very underestimated submission attempt, or submission power.
Because of the fact that he's a wrestler, a lot of people have forgotten the fact that he's one of the most successful submission artists in MMA. The wins over Frank Trigg, the win over George St-Pierre, the win over Joe Diesel Riggs. He has submitted many, many fighters.
St-Pierre trying to utilize a little ground and pound.
George's passed to half guard here.
Ground and pound St-Pierre. Taking a page out of the game plan of Matt Hughes.
Matt back to full guard here. He's pressed up against the cage.
This is considered a title fight, Joe, so it is scheduled for 5 5-minute rounds.
Matt's throwing his legs up, looking for a submission.
St-Pierre has been submitted just one time in his career. That, of course, was by Matt Hughes. And for Matt Hughes,
he's
who is in trouble now, he needs to survive this position up against the fence. In 48 fights, Hughes has been submitted just 3 times.
Two of them by one man, Dennis Hallman, the other by BJ Penn. Matt's doing a good job of controlling George's posture and eliminating too much damage.
They warn him about the strikes to the back of the head. Full mount St-Pierre.
Look at this slam that he's doing where he comes up, brings Matt with him, and then slams him down, trying to get Matt to release that body lock.
St-Pierre warned again. He's got to be careful where he hits Matt Hughes. Full mount, Matt continues to hold on with his great strength, trying to survive this first round. George has got to be careful now. He's been warned 3 times, Joe.
He's digging that elbow and he's finally managed to break it loose, and Matt gets it back again.
10 seconds remains in round number 1.
A dominant round for George St-Pierre.
All about St-Pierre. He has the back.
He him over. He's got his back.
We're going to hear the horn, though.
He's got an arm. Dominant round for George St-Pierre.
And remember, the first fight ended by submission with 1 second remaining in the round.
That was complete, total domination by George St-Pierre.
He's seeing those shots because you're throwing those punches like a fake. You got to throw them like you mean them. When you're on the ground, you need to ball up tighter. Don't get stretched out between your arm and your leg. That's how he got mounted. When he's up high, you drop down onto that calf for that single. You know what I'm saying? Drop really low. I know, you're all right. I know. Hey,
that's Jeremy Horn.
Strike a little, put him down. Remember, George?
And Greg Jackson.
If he goes southpaw, right and right. George, he's got some Vaseline on his head.
He's got a big gob of Vaseline on his right eyebrow that they're going to have to wipe off.
Steve Mazzagatti sees it.
I'm amazed that he's not doing anything about that.
Checking the fighters. And here we go, second round. Southpaw again. Funny when Jeremy Horn said, "You're all right," Matt said, "I know." But round 1 looked like a Matt Hughes fight against his many opponents in which he beat down. But it was George St-Pierre in top position. This our main event here at UFC 79.
Again,
another
George
takedown.
takes him down.
And quickly into the half guard.
This does not bode well for Matt Hughes. The fact that George is able to take him down so easily, and what happened in the first round when he did take him down.
Hughes trying to strike from the bottom. St-Pierre in the full guard of Matt Hughes.
Well, Matt's doing a good job of keeping him in that full guard. And
there's one. George St-Pierre taking this fight on 30 days' notice. You talk about an early Christmas present. And many said, actually, George St-Pierre was the welterweight who saved Christmas and was more than willing to fight Matt Hughes tonight. Both men should be credited for taking this matchup when Matt Serra was forced to withdraw due to injury.
Elbow from the bottom by Hughes.
Watch your thumb, man.
St-Pierre wants that rematch against Serra. Hughes wants Serra as well. More of the same so far here in the beginning of round 2.
But Hughes is doing a good job of avoiding too much damage now. Because he's able to keep George in full guard here. Now George is trying the can opener by pulling back on Matt's head like that. What he's trying to do is get Matt to release his legs. By putting pressure on the neck, it gets a guy to open the guard up. So because George is looking for that, it makes me think George is looking to pass. The legs are open now.
Body head from St-Pierre.
Matt gets back to full guard.
Midway point of the round. St-Pierre now training in Albuquerque on frequent occasion with Greg Jackson. Continuing to work his ground game.
George has passed the side control. Matt is trying to control one of his wrists here.
Half guard now for Hughes.
Now this is a better position. This is what we call twister side control. If he can get out of this, the side, there, he mounts him. He mounts him and he takes his back.
And this time he's got plenty of time, Joe.
With deep hooks.
Hughes is really tough to choke out, we know that.
He's completely dominating him on the ground. When Matt tried to turn over into his guard, George is having none of it. Stuffs him back up against the cage.
St-Pierre has said many times the best learning experience of his life was the loss to Matt Serra.
George's on his back again. Now Matt's up. Now Matt's got George's legs.
Let's see if he can take him down.
1 minute left. 1 minute left.
How many times have we seen Hughes not get the takedown in this position? Not many.
The only problem is he may be exhausted.
45 seconds remaining in the second round. Knees inside, another takedown by St-Pierre.
Takedown.
Right into side control. 30 seconds remains in the round.
Matt Hughes is really getting overwhelmed in this fight. George just stepped over for a triangle.
20 seconds.
He's got a Kimura on one side and a possible triangle on the other.
Trying to submit Hughes. Not quite yet. And it's all over.
Wow.
It is all over. George Rush St-Pierre defeats Matt Hughes again.
Wow. You want to talk about a dominating victory. It might not have been as quick as the second fight, but it was just as dominant, if not more dominant. George has completely outclassed Matt Hughes in this fight. Let's take a look at the end again. Here's the takedown. Now look at this sweep. Boom! A beautiful throw. Immediately to side control, elbows to the face. Now he's got a possible triangle on that one side with the left arm, and he goes for a Kimura on the right arm. Now as he pops the Kimura out, Matt bridges, tries to roll him over, leaves that arm extended. George takes it, rolls with it, straightens that arm out completely, and Matt is in deep, deep, deep trouble. He taps verbally, and Steve Mazzagatti separates him. I mean, George had turned him, got a better grip on the lip, and he's saying, I'm tapping. Right there. Unbelievably dominant victory for George St-Pierre.
And he can break dance as well. St-Pierre spent a lot of time training with Renzo Gracie and the jiu-jitsu skills. reigns supreme here tonight. Bruce Buffer with the official decision.
Ladies and gentlemen, referee Steve Mazzagatti has called a stop to this contest at 4 minutes 54 seconds of the second round, declaring the winner by verbal tap out due to an arm bar. And now, the interim UFC welterweight champion, George Rush St-Pierre.
All right, I'm here with the winner, George St-Pierre. Now, George, you lost your title to Matt Serra. When you found out that Matt Serra and Matt Hughes were fighting, you thought that possibly one of them could get injured and you could take one of their places.
Exactly, so that's why I'm gonna take off this belt, because for me, yes, it's a good collection, but doesn't mean nothing to me. Thanks to the UFC to give me that. It's a good honor, but the real champion is Matt Serra, and until I don't get my belt back, I'm not gonna consider myself champion.
Now, George, you stated that fight, that loss to Matt Serra, was the best thing to happen to you. Why is that?
Absolutely. Matt Serra that night beat me fair and square. He was a better man. I make many mistakes. I had a lot of issues, but he was a better man that night. Next time, when I fight him, he might be a different story and people will understand what I'm talking about.
George, please take a look at the big screen up there and talk us through the Mickey's replay.
Well, Matt Hughes adjusts himself. He came in the fight left-handed. I was not prepared for that. I used my wrestling skill to control the fight, and my submission skill as well. I've been working a lot on that. I had an awesome training camp. I was on the top of my game.
Well, congratulations on the interim title.
Well, before I finish, okay, I would like to say thank you everybody for the support. I wish you a happy new year, and everybody back home, à tout le monde qui me regarde à la maison au Québec, je vous remercie pour le support. Je vous souhaite une bonne année. Come party with me at Tangerine. Thank you.
George St-Pierre, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you. Thank you, bro. Thanks.
George St-Pierre, gracious, and what a statement he makes about the forthcoming matchup to solidify the title against Matt Serra. Now here's Matt Hughes with Joe.
I am here with the former champion, one of the most successful fighters ever to fight in the octagon. Matt, obviously you're disappointed. Give us your thoughts on the fight.
I came in, no excuses here. I came in 120%. I really trained hard for this fight. I brought in some of the best people. We really had a good game plan. George is a better fighter. There's nothing else I can say besides that. I do want to thank my fans for showing up, and I also want to thank George's fans for showing up, because that's who's paying our way, to be honest.
Matt, you've always been classy in defeat, always been classy in victory. What do you do from here? You've said publicly that you only want to fight a few more times. Do you want to go back home and think about it for a while, or what?
You know, it's funny, I was just thinking, I just released a book, and people have read it, and they've already wanted a second book, and you know, a defeat like this in the second round against George, I just don't know how much longer I've got in this. He's a young kid, he's doing great. And you know, I gotta sit down, I gotta think about things, and I gotta talk with Dana and the UFC and see what they want me to do. So just a lot of things on my mind right now.
Well, as a fan, I want to thank you for all the fantastic fights over the years, all the excitement that you've provided for all these fans. Thank you very much for everything you've done. Matt Hughes, ladies and gentlemen.
Thanks.
If this is the final time we will see him inside the octagon, we thank him for the many great moments. The most decorated champion in welterweight history, Matt Hughes, defeated again tonight by George Rush St-Pierre, who says, get rid of this belt. I want the one that Serra owns.